The Galactic Union had existed for 10,000 years. Across hundreds of worlds, species of every shape and size gathered under its banners. Believing that their unity meant supremacy, they had crushed warlords, ended famine, and created peace by strength. Their fleets were grand, their technology unmatched, their arrogance infinite, and yet in their archives there were stories. Whispered stories about a primitive blue world hidden in a spiral arm, a species that had never joined the Union, one that had fought wars even before learning to fly beyond its own sky. The stories claimed that these creatures, humans, were fierce, irrational, and frighteningly creative. But to the Union, these were legends, bedtime tales for recruits to imagine courage. No one believed such a people existed. The Council laughed at the notion that a single species could defy the galaxy's order. The High Minister once joked, if they were real, they would have already begged to join us. The chamber filled with laughter. That laughter echoed for decades, until the day the transmission came. It began as static, then a clear voice broke through the noise. To any who hear this is the colony vessel Dauntless of Earth origin. We request immediate assistance. Our colony was attacked by raiders, civilians aboard. The words meant nothing at first. Earth origin was not a known world. But when analysts examined the signal, they found a pattern, a linguistic structure that was entirely foreign, built upon logic and emotion in equal measure. It carried rhythm as if made by beings who loved both art and mathematics. Curiosity turned to fascination. The Council sent observers. Within a week, they found the coordinates of the distress signal, an unclaimed system near the galactic rim. The Union dispatched a small patrol fleet, more as a gesture than a rescue. To them, this was an opportunity to make contact with a backwater world and gain influence. But what they found was a scene of horror. The Dauntless drifted lifeless, its hull torn apart by plasma fire. Dozens of pods floated nearby, empty. Raiders had taken everything. The patrol's commander ordered scans, then noticed something strange. The ship's black box continued to transmit. It contained hundreds of logs, written in the same human language. Among them, one stood out. If you find this message, the log read, tell Earth, tell them we're not gone. Tell them the stars are not safe. The commander returned the data to the Council. It should have ended there, but it didn't. 2 cycles later, strange activity was detected along the rim. Unknown ships, small, fast, armed far beyond their size, began raiding pirate bases. Entire sectors fell silent. When the Union sent fleets to investigate, they found debris. But among that debris were shards of metal bearing human symbols. By then, the name Earth had become a rumor. Some believed it was a myth resurrected. Others claimed it was an unknown power rising from isolation. The Council debated endlessly, still convinced that nothing primitive could challenge them. Then, without warning, Earth's fleet arrived. It began with light. Thousands of drive signatures blinked into existence beyond the Veil Nebula. Sensors screamed. The signatures did not match any known configuration. Their engines pulsed in blue-white arcs that defied gravitational patterns. At the edge of Union territory, a single human transmission cut through every channel. This is Admiral Reeve of the Terran Defense Command. We have come for our people. No introduction. No diplomacy. Just that. The nearest Union fleet under Commodore Valen moved to intercept. He had 200 ships, enough to obliterate any threat. His voice carried confidence as he opened a channel. Unidentified vessels, this is a secured Union sector. You are trespassing. Power down your drives or face neutralization. Reeves' reply was calm. You attacked our civilians. We're here to collect what remains. Valen laughed, as did his bridge crew. They thought the humans were delusional. Then their scanners locked onto the Terran ships. The laughter died. Each human vessel was dense, armored with layered composites that absorbed radar. They bore no ornamentation, no insignia, only purpose. Their energy signatures spiked far beyond Union expectations, and they moved with surgical precision, each ship adjusting formation as though part of one living organism. Valen ordered the first salvo. Hundreds of plasma bolts streaked through the void. They struck the Terran line and vanished. The humans had deployed energy fields unknown to Union science. Within seconds, the Terran ships returned fire. It wasn't plasma. It wasn't laser. It was kinetic. Hypervelocity slugs accelerated to fractions of light speed. Invisible until impact, Union ships disintegrated before their sensors even registered contact. Phelan tried to retreat, but the human formation shifted, cutting off escape vectors. Each Terran ship coordinated without lag, as if sharing a single consciousness. Minutes later, the entire Union fleet was gone. The battle was over before the Council even received word it had begun. Panic swept through the Union. A new power had appeared, one not interested in negotiation. They sent diplomats, scientists, spies. None returned. Every probe that entered Terran space was vaporized, yet despite their strength, the humans didn't expand outward. They stayed near the rim, building, repairing, preparing. Then came the broadcast. Every world, every screen, every ship received it simultaneously. A single human stood before a flag of blue and white. "You laughed at our stories," the voice said. "You mocked our myths. You thought we were gone, but we remember every name you took, every soul you lost to your greed. This is not conquest. This is return." The transmission ended and the galaxy held its breath. Union fleets gathered to strike back. They assembled 5,000 ships under Supreme Admiral Laron. It was the greatest force ever assembled. The Council believed numbers would crush the humans through sheer magnitude. When Laron's armada entered the rim, they found silence. The Terran systems were dark, uninhabited, or so it seemed. Then their sensors picked up faint pulses beneath planetary crusts. "Underground installations," the tactician said. "Probably colonies hiding." Laren ordered orbital bombardment. The first wave struck, then the sky split. From the shadows of the moons emerged the Terran fleet, far larger than before. Ships that dwarfed carriers, engines glowing like small suns. The humans had hidden their forces beneath planetary shells, waiting for the Union to come to them. No words were exchanged. The battle erupted instantly. Human ships moved with frightening unity. Their tactics were fluid, unpredictable. Where the Union relied on formations and command hierarchies, the Terrans fought like a living storm. Every loss triggered retaliation from multiple directions. Union cruisers found their systems collapsing under cyber attacks that rewrote code mid-flight. Commanders screamed for help as their own weapons turned against them. In less than 4 hours, the armada was broken. Laren's flagship Eminence tried to escape. It didn't make it. A Terran dreadnought intercepted, locking a magnetic harpoon through the ship's spine. Then a boarding pod struck. The doors burst open and human soldiers entered. They wore armor that shimmered between metal and shadow. Their movements were efficient, emotionless, unstoppable. Laren, defiant to the end, demanded to know their purpose. The lead soldier's reply was quiet. "You took what was ours. We take nothing more." They left him alive as a message. When the Council received Laron's report, silence filled the chamber. For the first time in centuries, they understood fear. They had mocked the stories. Now they were living one. Weeks passed. The humans did not advance further. Instead, they sent envoys to every species enslaved or oppressed by the Union. To each they said the same thing. "You owe us nothing. Stand free or stand aside." Rebellions erupted. Systems that had been silent for generations rose in defiance. The Union's grip collapsed from within. Still, the Council refused to surrender. They gathered remnants of their fleets near the core, building new weapons, believing they could still outlast this storm. But the storm was already upon them. When Earth's fleet entered the core, it did so without announcement. Their ships moved through folded space, bypassing every defense grid. They arrived above the capital world before the Council could even scramble a response. The planet's defense rings opened fire. It was useless. Terran energy fields absorbed the assault like rain against glass. The humans didn't fire back immediately. Instead, they projected a hologram over the skies of the capital. It was Earth, blue, green, alive. "This is who we are," the voice of Admiral Reeve echoed. "We came from a world that fought its own demons, built its peace through fire, and never forgot what it meant to be free. You thought us legend. Now you see the truth." Then the fleet fired, not at the planet, but at the orbital command hubs. They severed the Council's power without erasing the world. The Union surrendered within hours. For the first time in galactic history, the Council kneeled, not to conquerors, but to survivors. The humans accepted no tribute, demanded no throne. They dismantled the Union's fleets, freed the enslaved worlds, and left the ruins behind. In their place, they built something new, the Terran Accord. It wasn't an empire. It was an alliance bound by principle. No world would rule another. No voice would be silenced by power. Many species feared that the humans would turn tyrant, but they didn't. They simply watched, ensuring no one repeated the Union's mistakes, and yet, even as peace returned, whispers persisted. How had the humans advanced so far so fast? Some said they had hidden for centuries, perfecting their craft. Others claimed their strength came not from technology, but from something deeper, a will to endure that no machine could replicate. In time, the galaxy learned the answer. A historian once asked a Terran officer, "Why did you fight so fiercely when you could have fled?" The officer smiled and replied, "Because when we tell stories, we don't laugh at them. We live them." The historian wrote those words into the archives. They became a creed repeated across worlds once enslaved. Generations later, statues of Terran soldiers stood in plazas where Union banners once flew, not as conquerors, but as reminders of defiance. The galaxy never laughed at human tales again, for they had seen what happened when the legends of Earth walked among the stars. They had seen ships that moved like thoughts, commanders who fought like poets, soldiers who carried both mercy and wrath. They had seen humanity unleashed, not for domination, but for justice. And though centuries passed, the story endured. Children on distant worlds would look up at the night sky and whisper of the day Earth's fleet arrived without warning. It was the day myth became truth, the day laughter turned to silence, the day the galaxy learned humility. And somewhere among the quiet stars, a human voice still echoed through the dark. "We are Earth. We are the storm you mocked, and we do not forget."